I can imagine it's early morning in Tucson, Arizona. You can almost picture the desert air still carrying the coolness of night as a light might flicker on in a garage. I'd like to think that for someone like Gerald, his tools would have been arranged with purpose, each wrench and socket in its place. The lingering scent of good old WD-40 and metal in the air. You might have driven past this house 100 times and never noticed it. Just another garage in another neighborhood. Nothing remarkable. But behind those walls, I imagine those hands that likely struggled with tremors from Parkinson's in his later years, yet still maintained a quiet kind of mastery that kept the world running when no one was looking. Hi, I'm Steve Rode, and this is True Stories from the Obit Files. A few times every week, I share one real story from a real obituary about someone whose life you never knew. These aren't celebrities or headliners. No, they're just regular people who lived extraordinary lives right under our noses. If stories like this matter to you, make sure you're subscribed. I share a new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you like podcasts like this, it would mean the world to me if you could visit Apple Podcasts and give this show a 5-star review. Gerald Armbruester was in his 70s when he passed away in July of 2025. He had Parkinson's disease in his later years, a condition that his family wrote slowed his physical abilities, but, as they beautifully noted, never suppressed his smile, his sense of humor, or his determination. But here's what I didn't expect when I kept reading: how a man who fixed machines spent his life rebuilding so much more than engines. Picture a young Gerald in the 1960s stationed at Fort Greely, Alaska, as a wheeled vehicle mechanic in the U.S. Army. Gerald didn't just fix things when they broke. The senior inspector who visited called his motor pool the finest facility observed in his career. He managed all the administrative duties while he volunteered as a driver for VIPs on midnight runs. His daughter Donna remembers him as a hero. She said, "He pulled me from bad dreams, kept my baby blue Ford Fairmont on the road, and even as his body failed, he showed an incredible will to keep moving forward." I can picture that baby blue Ford Fairmont, maybe with its peeling vinyl seats or temperamental starter, but always running because Gerald's hands made sure it did. It was his way of saying, "I love you," without words. After the Army, Gerald worked at the American Red Cross, repairing medical equipment. His hobbies revealed the fascinating range of his mechanical intelligence: target shooting, ceramics, and welding, each showing a different facet of the same remarkable mind. But here's what transformed Gerald from simply a skilled mechanic to someone extraordinary. It was his ability to repair both machines and hearts with the same careful attention. His friend Lou Ann wrote, "He was always my go-to when it came to home repair. Sometimes I needed to borrow a tool, but mostly I just needed his advice." She added something that stays with me. He and I could sit and talk for hours, and he was genuinely interested in what I had to say. I mean, think about that. In our world of constant distractions, Gerald gave people the rarest gift: his complete attention. The same focus that could diagnose an engine problem by its subtle sounds was turned fully toward understanding the people in his life. I can imagine those conversations, maybe at a kitchen table or in that garage. The way he might have leaned forward slightly when you spoke. How he made you feel like the most important person in the world for those moments. And then came the Parkinson's disease. A man who spent his life fixing things, facing a condition that affected his own physical abilities. But his family wrote, "It slowed his physical abilities, but it never suppressed his smile, sense of humor, or determination." 54 years of marriage to his wife Elaine, half a century of partnership, over 19,000 mornings of waking up with the same person. I wonder about the small rituals that might have sustained a love like that. Perhaps the way he fixed things around the house without being asked, or how they navigated the challenges of his Parkinson's together, finding new ways to connect as his physical abilities changed. Gerald did so much for everyone, his family wrote. He had such a kind heart and always stepped up to be there when needed the most, never asking for anything in return. People like Gerald, they're what I might call the invisible mechanics of community. They keep things running when systems break down. They understand both the machinery of engines and perhaps the machinery of families. Every neighborhood probably has someone like Gerald. Perhaps they're sitting next to you on the bus or standing in line next to you at the grocery store. You never know what someone is carrying with them, what skills, what kindness, what quiet heroism might be just beneath the surface. Not everyone makes the front page, but everyone, and I mean everyone, has a story worth telling. People like you, extraordinary lives, stories worth hearing. And thanks for letting me tell Gerald Armbruester's story.